I am gonna be keeping just this muted because frankly I don't really want to hear Hungry Box.
That's fair.
um, but I we get into it. So, I guess to start, Puff, Game and Watch. Do you feel? I know Puff's a bit of a weird character. Did you go into this feeling confident, or what was your thought process?
Uh, Kinda, 'cause, like, right before this, I beat, one of the better Puffs
Mm-hmm.
and the best, one of, like, the top 3 people in my state, like,
Okay.
literally probably 2 games before this, but I knew I was gonna get drilled the rest, and I was right.
Gotcha, gotcha. So the nerve, you were getting a little nervous because you know it's coming. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, Puff is one of those characters where she's not good, but she's not like so bad she can't do anything, right? Like there's certain things you still have to respect with her. So the way I like to approach the matchup is like, okay, what do I know that my character can do, to Puff? Obviously, it's different for like Olimar compared to something like Game & Watch, but it's like, okay, well, what can I do? Well, Puff is really good off stage. Puff is really good when she's able to pressure you and things like that. So maybe I'll try and play more centered in my case. You're really fortunate because you play a character with a fantastic out of shield game, so you're able to forcefully disengage from the situation in a mostly safe way, right? So I think looking for those opportunities is pretty good. But we'll see how this game starts. Smashville, pretty solid stage. There you go. Already starting out just how you should. He touches you. Nope. But let's see. Let's see what he's doing.
And I will say I don't know any of the frame data for any of the grounded moves because I rarely ever see a Puff use them.
Yeah. No, no, that's totally fair. I couldn't tell you any of her frame data for her grounded moves either if you asked me. It's more so just like I know like respect dash attack because it'll trample, right? Like it just won't lose and things like that. Um, but yeah, I don't know off the top of my head the frame data. I mean, if we go back right now, it seems like you're kind of just waiting for him to upbeat you, or waiting for him to get near you and attack your shield, and then you're upbeating, and then you're trying to throw out aerials in the general vicinity. So like right there, you just tried to neutral air, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Like forward air, and then you neutral air again. Okay, up air, and you're just throwing out. You're like, I hope you go into this right, and it seems like
Yeah.
you're throwing the move out with the intent for it to hit. Like it'd be great if it did, but you're not sure it will. Like you're trying to hit where he's at per se, as opposed to where he'll be. And I think with a character like Puff, who has such solid airspeed, you might need to be a little bit more proactive with that and go, okay, well, what if I move forward a little bit with that, right? So like I'm going to where he's drifting to the platform, or I follow him instead of maybe just doing it to where you're like only like right under him. You see what I'm saying? Like how that nair was like right
Yeah.
under where he was. Remember to keep in mind
Yeah.
with Pound as well. That move just lingers stupid long. Very safe on shield the longer it lingers too. Even I think it might even be positive or like super super safe. So just be careful of that. If you can, try and move away with him. Like do a retreating bear. I think a retreating bear would probably be your best case. Like if he's coming at you with it because you have the disjoint.
Yeah.
To try and punish him there.
Yeah.
At least you trade. Would he pound rest you? All right, let's see how you got that.
I think it was like pound fair
So
rest
like
or
you
something.
whiff the bear and then you shield and then you jump into it. I'm
Yeah.
assuming you tried to jump bear there from what it
Yeah.
looked like. Um, Keep in mind, you're on Wi-Fi, so reacting things are buffered sometimes. Like you got to understand that you can have the right idea, but it won't always execute in that way. And that's just something where you go, okay, next time maybe I'll play a little bit slower, and that I'll let him hit my shield first, and I can up right? Because even if he pounds, your shield's not going to like shatter instantly as long as you have full shield, and he's not going to do some block string on you. So it's probably okay to be out of there, right?
Yeah.
And when you're playing on Wi-Fi, you are going to have to adapt to that slower, more like patient gameplay in some cases. Oh, yeah, it's pound rest or pound fair rest. Yeah, there it is. But I mean, like I said, you traded stock, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
That was really good. I like the nair frame trap. Like honestly, what you're doing right here, I think that's the biggest thing. You just keep like sharking him essentially in the air. You don't need to do anything crazy, and you're gonna get to a point where eventually he's gonna die.
That
Not
was an F tilt.
okay. That
The
that explains. I was like, definitely not where I would have F smashed, but okay.
Because I mean, like I saw the what's it called? The hit stop,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, I think I can punish this. And then F Smash came out, and I was like, yeah,
Do you
maybe
use
not.
tilt stick or smash stick?
I used tilt stick, but I was being
One of
dumb
those
and
no, no,
trying
no.
to
That's
use
totally
just
fine.
A.
There's times. I mean, I use smash stick, and there's times where I have messed up like a jab lock because I do it, with the normal input. So that's totally fair. All right. So unfortunate tech error, but even then, not the end of the world. You still got a sizable lead right now. Like it's okay if he gets the occasional combo or something like that. I think you might be letting go of shield prematurely on those dares,
Yeah.
and that's why he's hitting you. Let me pull up just off the top of on my own over here what the puff frame data is for dare because I know it's pretty good in terms of safeness, but I don't know how safe. So down air is dangerously unsafe relative to the rest of her aerial. It's minus 13.
Oh, okay.
Her
Well, I
safest
think
aerial
fair.
is minus 5, and that's up air, fair, nair, depending on how she lands. But minus 13, I mean, there's a lot of hits, obviously, so if you go early, you're going to get hit, because I think it's a refresh rate of 3 frames. So every 3 frames it's going. So you're probably going to get hit. Um, but yeah, just let that move run out. Like multi hits like that, if you're unsure, very few instances where a multi hit aerial is like that safe, right? So
Yeah,
you
just
can usually
peek it
just
and
wait and then let him do it. Yeah, it's like even then Pikachu's and stuff relative to the other aerials aside from Nair, isn't like the craziest to my knowledge. I think it was
yeah,
yeah, like back air is super unsafe, forward air super unsafe compared to like um the neutral air. So yeah, just let it run out, let it them do their thing. You have a great option, but sometimes things are a little too quick, and you'll run the risk of getting hit if you let go early.
yeah.
Okay, so that it looked like you got hit, and I don't know how you're DIing here. It might just be because you're at a low percent and Puff's hitting you, but it kind of looked like you were DIing in. But the biggest thing I saw was you were definitely trying to retaliate in these scenarios where you just
Yeah,
didn't need to back air there. Like you just
yeah,
that's what Puff wants, and you're not using like a Mario Sex kick or something like that. You're using a Game and Watch back air, which is not fast.
yeah.
So you need to DI out, get away, and reset. And since you didn't, you took 2 forward airs and an air.
That
Have
was
you
just
have
too slow.
you
Yeah.
um oh, excuse me, have you contemplated that maybe like right there a shield grab would have been better? Because puff shielding after something's not the most unheard of thing. Just that's generally how shield pressure works. And if you're like on top of that, like you could definitely shield grab that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that would be good because when you're playing Game and Watch, it's as a Game and Watch player when you fight a Game and Watch player, everyone knows that the up B's coming, right? It's like you hit my shield, I'm gonna up B or something, or you do this, I'm gonna up B. So they're probably going to be conditioned to shield like that. So in there, you would be able to grab, throw him off stage or throw him in the air, and then start your own, juggling your advantage state with Nair, with Bear, whatever it is. So I think mixing that up, you don't have to do it all the time, but if you feel like they're going to shield or they might shield here because it's kind of the end of their pressure, it could be worth doing. Especially with a character like Puff. Like if it's like a Fox, they're probably going to jab, right? But like Puff's most likely not going to keep it up.
I was
Unfortunate.
not expecting to get anti from from an
Yeah.
F Smash.
I mean, the way I approach Game & Watch, it's like if I know they're going to forward air, I'm going to come in and swing. So he probably just had a good idea of what you were going to do there. Even then, your
Yeah,
spacing was kind of close. Um,
yeah. It was bad spacing.
so
I just still.
it wasn't the ideal scenario to even really go for an aerial like that. Like you're
Right.
moving in, and he just lets it rip. I don't know. He might have read you, or he might have just said, "I don't care what's happening." But I think had you even approached with a bear, you might have still traded. Um, just because you were moving in with this as opposed to starting it and then coming in, right? Like you were moving in while you were starting it, and that was just not the best spot. Like probably would have been fine if he wouldn't have F smashed, but I think in general just being a little bit more cognizant on your end, like where am I spacing these aerials relative to him, or where am I spacing these attacks, so that I'm not making it as easy to punish. There you go. Forward air seems like it's a little hard to hit on Puff with how much she's throwing out hitboxes since they'll beat it out or
Yeah.
dodge it. I notice you're not dash attacking too much. You just feel like it's hard to hit on Puff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That and I'm pretty sure they can. day of that, or rested out a shield too, and
Well, I
I
was thinking
don't
like
want him to figure that out.
not even. Well, I should. You don't want to like not do something with the fear that your opponent is gonna like perfectly play around it. Like, yes, don't just go for
Sure.
wildly, um, like dangerous things, but you can take some level of risk, especially when you're losing. I mean, it's okay to like feel your opponent out and see, yeah, he might do it, but there's times where I think he's whiffing his aerials, and you could probably kind of slide under him and dash attack, and just pop
Okay.
him up. And that's really what you want to do, is because you're not going to be comboing Puff like these huge amounts, so you put him in the air and you get your damage over and over and over again like that until you hit him with a move that hits hard and they die. Clutch your air dodge. You might have been able to fall on him with an aerial act. I'm surprised you're not down airing, actually. Is it just another you don't want to get shielded and punished, or?
I've been trying. Oh, I have a really bad habit usually, and for this tournament, I was trying to not just mash it,
Okay. Okay.
and I think I probably went too far the other way. But
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's as long as you know, like next time you can try and find the perfect like in between of using it and then not. So that's the important thing with this with the review is that you know where you're going moving forward. All right. Hit him with the bear. Like what you're doing right now, just try and stay around him, stay under him. Like you got the disjoints, he doesn't, and just threaten him that way. It's definitely not easy, but it's doable. At the end of the day, Puff has to come near you. So, and since if you see here, like HBox has not resigned himself to like camping, right? Like this is not. It's kind of you've got an edge there in the fact that he will keep approaching you because normally like someone could just time you out but and
yeah,
make you, but he's not doing that. So the fact that you're sitting back and exploiting that's really good. It's like let him do his thing and fuck up and then give you the opening. What you did right there was really good. Like you're running in and you're threatening space with your presence because he's kind of scared of you because he's Puff, but like you're not committing. Like I really like that run up shield. It's like okay, well, you're not gonna kill me. All right, now I get out of here, something like that, and that's good. That's a good way to kind of like elicit a response out of your opponent without having to commit to something like an attack. Honestly, I feel like if you would have played the entire game like you've played this final like 30 seconds, like 45 seconds, you'd probably have been in much better position because it's just very calm, collected. Like, okay, I don't need to do anything crazy. Like he will play my game.
yeah.
Because with
I
a
think I do.
sorry, go on.
Uh, I said I think I do a little bit better on the next one. I just died like 30 twice.
I mean, yeah, that's the low tier effect, dude. They suck until you're dead.
Yeah.
That's what happened there. You're fighting, you're fighting. You go for a back air. All right, hit him, hit him. So you down smash. Okay, that's fair. But then you did what you're not supposed to do. You were approaching when he was nearby. It was another one of those like perfect like spacing things where you weren't recognizing how close you were relative to him. Like let's look at that again. Like you do this and you down smash. This is a very similar spacing to the forward smash and the forward air that happened earlier, right? Because you
Yeah.
jump and go into it. His back's to you. You know he wants to swing. That's what he's been trying to do for the last like a minute straight. He's trying to catch you to hit you. Then you down smash, and realistically, you should have either shielded, and the off chance he hits you, or run the other way. Maybe even up
Yeah.
B. You could try an invincibility frames or something. But going for that slow back air to rise, if he's there to challenge you, and he was, he caught you. So you really got to hammer, hone in on these, the spacing between you guys when you're at those higher percents. Like it's okay to be a little bit more lenient when you're at lower percents and just feel it out and go like, okay, I want to take this risk now. But what you did there kind of was the opposite of how you'd been playing for the last minute, and I think you might have just been getting a little antsy just because you were making a comeback, you're doing pretty good, and you didn't recognize that he might be ready to swing here. But that's something important to keep in mind moving forward. Is like don't spoil your good strategy with the idea of winning, right? Like let it happen
Yeah.
naturally.
Okay.
Or did it say PS2? No, Battlefield. Okay. Game starts out already retreating. That's good. Yeah, like let him come in. Like you got to treat these low tiers like low tiers, right? Or else they're gonna be like way better than they need to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was definitely there's definitely an instance or two where you could have been down airing and hitting him with the way he's like kind of sitting under you. Um, so that's important to know for next time. Oh, that was really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you. Oh, I don't want to hear him. I think you were shielding and then you stopped shielding. Let me double check that. So there's the shield, and then now you're getting hit. I'm assuming you either upbeat um or you drop shield to try and do something else. I mean, you guys were going back and forth. This is a pretty even game, but you made the crucial error of letting go of shield at the worst time, and he was ready to punish you. That's just
Yeah.
it's just like game one. Next time you need to just let that move rock. You know, on Wi-Fi especially, you have to because you can't perfectly react to everything. And I know sometimes you'll try and be a bit proactive with things and go, "Oh, I know he's gonna hit here, so I'll up B right as it hits me." It's like try to recognize the situations you're in. Like if he's above you, he's gonna do like two things probably. It's either gonna be a neutral air or it's gonna be like a down air. In the case of Puff, so if you miss a punish on a neutral air, that's not the end of the world, right? It's like it's already -5, and if you don't hit him, whatever, you're not gonna die. If you fuck up the punish on the dare, you're dead. Like you just died
Yeah.
right there. So just play it in a not worth running the risk type of way. Like uh, it's something that I have to do all the time, especially against characters like that have like really good multi hits on me, like a Fox Downer or something like that. It's like I can't normally offline. Maybe I'd be able to perfectly react and handle all this, but right here, I'll just get messed up if I do. So it's not worth. So now you're approaching again. I think you might have been fine to try and play for a little bit more of a defensive gameplay, similar to game one, like recognizing what happened game one, like why'd you lose, right? How were you making your comeback? And go, okay, well he was approaching, I was able to punish him, but here you're already down and you're already back to approaching. Oh, excuse me, and that just got you punished there. So I think you're not even letting yourself see if HBox is kind of willing to overextend like that. You're just feeling the need to get in there, and that's probably the nerves of being down a game in a stock because you got rested. But it's something you want to fight off. That you're not just kind of giving into that instinctual strategy. That should kill, right?
And I mess up this so badly, and it.
Oh,
I was
oh,
trying to fall, and it just didn't.
yeah. That happens sometimes. Another one of those dares you let go of. There you go.
And right here, yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. No, it happens. It happens to the best of us. So just a lot of back and forth, and that's fine. You don't need to rush anything. It's like right now you're waiting. That's what you got to do. Take it slow. That was another situation where I think you could have grabbed him. But I mean, it's like not the end of the world if you up B. It's just something to keep in mind as a mix-up because I don't think I've seen you shield grab once. Well, you made a fantastic comeback. The game's nice and even right now. Don't go for anything crazy. He's just jumping into it at this point. There you go. There you go. You know, rinse and repeat until it works.
I was trying to be in it. I was too slow on it.
You were too slow, you said? Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Might have been better just to wait till he hit your shield again, you know?
Yeah.
Not get too eager. Because he's not going to kill you off a throw. Okay. They're doing absolutely phenomenal right now. Oh no. At this point, you could honestly think, like, not necessarily. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, let's see how you did that one.
I think I rolled in for some reason.
So you're there, you know, yep.
Oh
No,
no, it was
you
a whip fair.
whiffed a fair. Another fair cost you a game. Um, and that's funny because what did you do? You approached,
Yeah.
and that's how you lose. That's how you lost most interactions this game. Was like you're here, you guys are fine, and you just jump in not with an active hitbox either. Like I think it was good when you were up on these other platforms and you're kind of like dropping the fares down and threatening that way, where it's at a weird 45-degree angle. But you came from the ground and then tried to do it, jumping into it without anything to force him to respect you. Um, and as someone like Puff has that really good airspeed, has the ability to get in and out. Like that's rough. You were playing this matchup, I think, really well. And I think you would have beaten HBox both games had you just stuck to the let me play slower, let me punish him for approaching, let me play defensive. My character is one of the best anti-aggression characters in the game. I'll punish him for aggressing properly or improperly. Between the premature shield drops on the dares, and then a little wishy-washy on your own approaches. Like you can approach sometimes, but it needs to be done right. And HBox was kind of like just floating around every time, and he's a player that's no stranger to this type of stress. So I'm sure he's like, okay, perfect, the opportunity, go right. And you just were giving him a few too many opportunities. Where had you just stayed and played that defensive gameplay, you probably would have won this game, no problem. It's just really specific issues that really cost you the match. Like I'm sure if we get into the nitty gritty, we could be like, oh, you got fared here because you slightly whiffed that or you acted too slow. But I think the big things are like you were approaching when you didn't need to against this character. You were not properly handling the way you were getting pressured on shield. You would sometimes up B prematurely, or try to and then get hit. And I think you could have tried to implement more shield grabs, and then just like use your disjoints to space them out. And it's pretty straightforward, honestly, at that point. I think if you fight him again, or if you fight a Puff again, just what we were saying, just play it slow, play it defensive, and make their life a nightmare for that game. Like you don't need to give them any respect. You don't need to treat them anyway. You don't need to approach. I mean that game got down to like 2.5 minutes left, and while it was the last stock and you guys had percent on you, like you don't necessarily need to go for a timeout, but you can almost play with that like intention of it happening, right? It's like it could happen, and that's okay. Um, But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I think just the big thing was the way you would approach and how you were handling your shield on his dares was really poor, and you were giving him a lot more bang for his buck than he should have actually had. Do you want to get into some gameplay now?
Yeah.
I will host up a room. Oh, that's new. Alright, I'm posting the information in Discord now.
Step into the ring.
Okay. Mind if I mute so I can put on music?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I'll just do my talking like normal. If you have anything to say, just chime in whenever, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Alright, let's get some games going.
3, 2, 1, go!
But definitely gotta watch out of those dares that high. Particularly because I have the transcendent up airs. So while it can be a little tough for me to hit, like you saw right there, I'll just out my purple or my up air or whatever, and if I'm on top of it, your move's gonna lose. Additionally, I think you were doing all right. You know, kind of just up B whenever I hit you, and that's fine. Like I don't really have much I can hit you with that's not gonna be up B'able, unless I like space certain things very right. So I think that's good. Biggest thing I think you need to do is try and get me in the air more and use those back airs, as opposed to forward air as much. Just keep me in disadvantage. I think with Game & Watch you can play to your opponent's weaknesses very well if you know what you're doing, like putting them disadvantage, playing really defensive, whatever, like just snubbing out what they want to do. I'm gonna make you work for these ones though. That's wouldn't expect my purple to be there, but that's how lore works now. Definitely felt like you were playing that really good. Kind of just playing to your strengths. You got a little, I think, I don't want to say greedy, but there was an instance there where like you tried to F-tilt me that second stock, and then I ended up punishing you before you get the kill. And I definitely understand why you kind of want to just close out the stocks. But sometimes it really just turned into like the play super safe until you get it. Because as I'm getting at those higher percents, kind of like how you did against H-Box, I'm just like, okay, I have to avoid everything. Like, there's certain moves that if I get hit by, it's not the end of the world, but I gotta avoid the real big kill ones, and that's what I'm trying to do there, and just slowly find my opening. And since I just hit really hard with a lot more moves, it's easier for me.
1, go!
traded mix.
Oh, I knew you weren't gonna expect that one. Ugh. No, solid mix-ups though. I'm liking that a lot. I feel like on Battlefield, you know, you're doing a really good job of using the platforms to kind of help drop this Pharys into a spot where I don't always hit him well. You're poking with the back airs and the neutral airs and just trying to keep me in disadvantage. I think it's just being a little hard for you to close out stocks, which it sounds a little contradictory because I say like don't use those moves that that are a little bit more committal but can kill. Like, I don't want to say don't ever use them, but just if they don't work, you have to recognize why they're not working. It's like if you F-tilt at the wrong time or prematurely, you gotta go, okay, that didn't work there. What was my thought process? Why did it go wrong? And then try and maybe keep working on it until you were able to get it. Like, obviously, you were getting some kills there, so you're able to do those things, and it's a close game, but for me specifically, when I'm fighting you and I'm at this higher percent, I'm really like dialing in, like, you know, you down smashed, and then I shielded it, and then you down tilted, and I still shielded it. I was like, I'm not going to risk it. You're not going to kill me off a throw. I don't have to worry about that, you know? So, I have an idea of what you want to do, so you got to get really creative on how you're doing it or mix up your timings in a way that's going to catch me off guard. Oh, let's go. Oh. Was not ready for that. Oh, that was not good. Good job, though. That was not good by me. That was good by you. You did your job just right.
Mr. Game & Watch wins.
That was, I think you were using FD really well there. I was having a harder time kind of navigating because I was stuck in like a one-to-one approach method. Like I couldn't, use platforms to circumvent it or block out like the bombs or anything like that. So that was a solid use. You kind of just stuck to your game plan and didn't cave there until I ended up either overextending or doing something like that. And I think that's a strategy you're probably going to end up employing against a lot of characters if you find that just like approaching isn't going to work out, and that's perfectly fine.
3, 2, 1, go!
Wow, okay. So that game compared to the last one, I was like, okay, he was giving me a hard time when I was trying to approach. I was getting snuffed out a lot. I was getting hit by forward airs. I'm going to play the more, like, I'm going to take on the role of sitting back a lot more, right? Like, I'm going to let you come in. I'm going to whip punish you. I'm going to make you do things you don't want to do, and I'm going to punish you there for it. And at that point, when you have to approach like that, you've got to really look at what tools does your character have. You know, maybe If you notice I'm side being a lot or something at a weird spacing, maybe you can try and dash attack it and go under me and catch me. Or maybe you need to try and like bulldoze through some of my options. If I'm side being, if I'm trying to do smash attacks, maybe a bear would cut through it, right? Something like that if you can get close to me. And just gradually work your way closer. If you find that just running in outright isn't going to work, do it incrementally, right? So you're taking little bits of space at a time, and you're kind of just like, hey, I'm here. I'm not necessarily going super hard on you, but I'm making you recognize that you have to fight me. And honestly, it's a little weird because with the current bug fixes that they gave Olimar in the recent patch, he can play a lot more, I don't want to say aggressive, but he can press a lot more buttons a lot quicker now because like there's not as much downtime with his Pikmin. So that's something to keep in mind. But recognizing like, okay, my opponent's playing this way, he's playing defensive or offensive or something like that, and then, you know, fine-tuning your strategy is very important to that. And in this game, I'm going to try and do that as well, to where I'm going to keep you off your base. I'm not going to let you just do what you want. Oh, God, that was so good. Oh no, it didn't jump. What? God, I got so greedy. That's alright. Were you able to see the difference between that game, like the last three games, kind of the progression, right? So that first FD game, you were kind of messing me up pretty good. You were hitting me with a lot more fairs. You still hit me with some there, but I was able to, just the way I was adjusting my strategy, I was playing a little bit more defensive. And unfortunately, that game we just played, I had like an SD, and you know, it kind of messed up my general lead and all that. So I had to play a little bit more aggressive. But you adjusted even on the stage, and I noticed that you were getting pretty good at you trying to use dash attack to intercept, you know, my side B and things like that, and you're taking note of what I'm saying. And that's just like the basic idea that you want to employ, because there's not like a like a consistent strategy that's always going to give you the answers you want. So instead, what you have to do is kind of like see that those strategies can work, but then also employ the other ones that you know that you're recognizing about what I'm doing, and then constantly switch them up. Because then there was one point, I think it was maybe on my last stock or the second stock, where like I came down from the platform and I immediately shielded because I knew you were going to dash attack because you wanted to try and do something, and I got a free grab. So like I'm catching on to that, right? Like I'm recognizing your pattern, so it's up to you to find a way to mix it up. I can't do that, I can't just tell you how to do that. That's something you have to employ. But as long as you have like ideas, you can swap them around and keep your opponent off guard. And I feel like you're doing that decently well. It's just I'm a bit more privy to adapting than you are. Nice. Surprised that killed. Might not have been perfect DI though. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I would like to talk with you just a little bit. I guess kind of hear your thoughts on it after hearing some of the stuff I said, just with the different games. How you were feeling with that?
And a lot of the stuff you said made a lot of sense. I still have no idea what I'm ever going to do against double purple and bracket though, because holy
It's one of those things that like there's not really a simple fix. What I like to recommend to people is if an Olimar gets it, you need to try and play in a way to where you're going to be able to kill them. You could. The big things are, you know, maybe you can try and space in a way to where he throws one or something like that, and if he's not necessarily like right there waiting to punish, you could let him whiff it. So like he throws it, you dodge it, right? And it's on the ground in front of you, and you can try down smashing it. Down tilt might work as well. Just something to get them out of there ASAP.
I felt
Honestly,
like I 9'd one of them and he lived.
what's up?
I said I felt like that one time when I accidentally hit Judge. I
Yeah.
thought I hit him. He just lived. I was like, oh.
There's actually this like weird glitch where you can kind of like soft store their death animation, but then they die like soon after when it's really weird. But normally hitting them will pretty much do it. You could try employing the bucket reflect a little bit more when I have double purple, just as a way, because like what'll happen is like I'll jump throw and then you'll bucket and then it's gonna follow the arc back at me and it can potentially hit me or mess me up there. Just keep in mind if a Pikmin hits your shield, like let's say I purple side to you and it hits your shield. And it falls on the ground, you can't hit it.
Okay.
But I can reuse it instantly. So if I have one purple and I side B your shield, and it bounces, I can already reuse it again. However, if you parry it, you can hit it before it hits the ground. But if it just whiffs, like if I just hit the ground, like if I side B and it hits the ground, you're free reign to hit it. So dash attack, down smash something. But you do need to try and get those out of there ASAP, and you might take a couple hits, but like just finding an opening, maybe you down smash one and you're at like 30%, and then you let him punish you. Cool, he doesn't have his purple anymore. Now you can play kind of the more traditional matchup. But it's definitely hard. But I know I liked some of the adaptation I've seen between those games. I think you're gonna need to play around more and figure out like how you want to approach characters in terms of like aggression. I think if you can refine that a little bit and make the most out of your hits, it's going to be all right. And then you can retreat back to maybe a more in-the-middle kind of reactionary, like, anti-aggression gameplay, something that we saw like you were doing sometimes against Jigglypuff or things that you were doing against me when I was down and I was approaching. I think that was really good because Game & Watch excels in that. Just like I was saying, you got to find ways to mix up the few options you do have and keep your opponent guessing, because if they get a beat on what you're trying to do, since Game & Watch doesn't really have like a kill throw or like the best way to like pressure shield, it's he falls when people just know to hold shield, right? That makes it hard. So finding ways to at least put them in a bad spot. You don't need to kill with your throw if you put them off stage, and then you can do your job from there. Just keeping them guessing is really important. Do you have any final questions though?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if something comes off the top of your head or something, feel free to shoot me a message, and I'll try and help you with that, with the question there. But, yeah, I think that's it. I think you just got to keep making sure that you're sticking to your game plan and not getting a little too antsy, and just knowing, what you got to do with each game plan. And when you're playing on Wi-Fi especially, it's okay to play a little bit slower, hold shield a little bit longer. Those multi-hits will be dangerous, and if you get clipped by one, it's just not worth the risk, really.
Yeah.
But all right, then. Appreciate you doing this, and have a good day, man.
You too.